Why is this not running? There we go.
Yes, I am. Coffee. Coffee with Tim Black.
Welcome to Coffee with Tim Black. I'm your host, Tim Black. Happy December 1st, Friday. Welcome to TBTV Studios. I'm glad to have you. All right. Amazing. I hope you got your coffee ready, your tea, or something, because we got a lot of stuff to cover. We got Michael Flynn. He's turning state's evidence, it looks like. We got the NFL settles on the protest. Obama counsels Donald Trump. Trump is angry. He's always angry. Trump angry at an acquittal. And McCain, told you so about McCain. I told you about McCain. All right. But to start today's show, let's go with this. On December 14th, there will be a decision made about net neutrality. They're trying to reverse it. And the short and quick of it is that if net neutrality goes away, so does a lot of your access to the internet, possibly. And also, it could mean slower access times for the sites that you love to visit. In response to it, the FCC is set to vote once again on December 14th, as the day gets closer, things are getting heated. A 28-year-old Syracuse man is now facing federal charges for what we allege is he made an alleged threat. He made a threat, not an alleged threat. He made a threat to Representative John Katko, wherein he threatened the congressman and his family and his family's lives. Okay, so let me make sure I do that again. Net neutrality is going away. A Syracuse man, 28 years old, threatens a congressman about net neutrality. So there you go. Not only the congressman, but also the congressman's entire family. A voicemail was left on Katko's office phone that said, "Listen, Mr. Katko, if you support net neutrality, I will support you. But if you do not support net neutrality, I will find you and your family, and I will kill you all. Do you understand? I will literally find all of you and your progeny and just wipe you off the face of the earth." The caller also went on to say that net neutrality was more important than the U.S. defense, free speech, and health care, and that it is literally the basis of the new society. The man accused of leaving the message faced federal charges that carry a penalty of up to 10 years in prison and $250,000 fine. FCC Chairman Ajit Pai released a statement today in response to the threat. He said, "I condemn in the strongest possible terms any attempts to intimidate government officials with violent threats, and in particular, efforts to target their families. I would also like to express my sympathy to Congressman Katko and his family and thank law enforcement officials for taking this matter so seriously." Yes, a lot of people are pissed off about the net neutrality situation. They see the internet as an access point to all things beautiful, all information, all things that they enjoy watching, that they learn from, and also a part of free speech. Net neutrality is in place to make sure that the websites you love to visit have the same response times as all other websites. And once the ISPs, which is really what with this whole reversal is about, reversing net neutrality, helps the ISPs make more money. They get to charge a premium to websites, and they get to pick the favorites. And that's a bad thing. And a lot of people are pissed off about it. And I'm pissed off about it because I use the internet every day. This is how I sustain this show. So we need to make our voices be heard. Go to Twitter, social media, Facebook, comment about it. Contact your congressman. Let them know how to vote. We got to get the word out about it. Net neutrality needs to stay. If you get nothing else from this segment, know that net neutrality is important. It will affect how you and your children and your parents and your cousins and how everybody accesses the internet. Do that. All right. Quick announcement. I'm going to be in Richmond, Virginia tomorrow. And we've been up burning the midnight oil, trying to get it going, trying to make sure that everything's all set up for tomorrow. And look, guys, it's a comedy show. So come prepared to laugh. It's at Ponies and Pints. I'm there with Lee Camp and Chris Mohan. For more information, go to leecamp.net. Do it and be there if you can, because we're going to take selfies. We're going to have a beer, a drink, a couple drinks, a beer, a couple beers. Just a couple beers. You sure it was just a couple beers? It wasn't more than just a couple beers. Inside joke for those who know what I'm talking about. But anyway, come on out. Ponies and Pints, Tim Black. Go to leecamp.net and laugh at the truth. All right? Come on. Oh, man, is Christmas shopping starting already? Oh, man. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for any, I grew up not celebrating Christmas, right? Because, it was a religious thing. My mom, Jehovah's Witness, we didn't celebrate Christmas. And I never quite got in. It took me, I don't know, after leaving home, it took me a long time before I even started celebrating it. And gosh, man, I left that religion when I was in my teens. But I'll tell you, I see the financial benefit of being a non-believer of Christmas. I'm trying to tell you that just on like financial basis. Jesus. Anyway, I'm just telling you, I'm not ready, man. I don't know if you're ready. Are you ready? I do have a Christmas gift coming out for you, though. Something that you can pick up. It's and give to a friend. It's called Things Smart People Knew. No, Things Smart People Know, or Things Smart People Wish Hillary supporters knew. That's it. Things Smart People Wish Hillary supporters knew. It's a bonus package of a video, a long-form video, a ebook, and some other goodies in there, guys, and that's going to be made available in the next couple of days. All right, so let's turn the page a little bit to Michael Flynn, because everybody wants to talk about Michael Flynn. Now, we know Michael Flynn was a security advisor for Donald Trump for a very short period of time. He was forced to resign after controversy surrounding his meeting with a Russian ambassador named Kislyak. Well, Michael Flynn has just pled guilty. That's right, Michael Flynn has just pled guilty. Now, here goes some details. Flynn pleads guilty to lying to the FBI and will cooperate with Mueller. Now, we know about this Russia investigation. You would have to know, right? Right. So Robert Mueller has gotten Michael Flynn to flip. That's what they say, man. This is like the first 48, right? The first 48. President Trump's short-lived first national security advisor, Michael Flynn, on Friday morning pled guilty to lying to FBI agents in one of the most dramatic developments yet in the special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russia interference in the U.S. elections. As part of the plea agreement, Flynn has agreed to cooperate fully with the Mueller's investigation. Flynn's the first official to hold a formal office in the Trump administration to be brought down by the Mueller probe, which is examining potential ties between the campaign and Moscow during the 2016 elections. A low-level campaign aide, George Papadopoulos, also has pled guilty to lying to investigators and cooperating with Mueller's team, according to court documents. But Flynn, as a one-time close confidant of the president and a sitting administration official for 24 days, is a much bigger fish. Two other campaign officials, former campaign chair Paul Manafort and his aide Robert Gates, also face charges in the investigation. They have both pleaded not guilty. According to court documents filed by Mueller, Flynn lied when he told investigators that he did not ask Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak to refrain from escalating the situation in response to sanctions that then President Obama had levied on Russia. Flynn also lied, the counsel alleges, when Flynn said he did not ask the ambassador to either delay or defeat a related UN Security Council vote. Flynn's misrepresentation of his conversations with Kislyak, which took place in December before Trump took office, were the justification for his ouster from the White House after just 24 days. Reporting based on leaks of U.S. surveillance revealed in February that Flynn had misled Vice President Pence about the contents of the phone call, saying the sanctions were not mentioned in an account Pence then repeated to the American people. Get that? Mm-hmm. So he took he fell on the sword, right? He fell on the sword. He took one for the team. He's going down with the ship. At the time, then Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates warned the White House that Flynn created a compromised situation and could have been blackmailed. We weren't the only ones that knew of this, Yates testified earlier this year, referring to the revelation that Flynn misled Pence about the true content of a December call with Kislyak. The Russians also knew about what General Flynn had done. The Russians also knew that General Flynn had misled the vice president and others. Get it? Flynn was interviewed by the FBI in this investigation into Russian interference in the election in January, when Mueller's office now says he made false statements about the phone calls with Kislyak. The White House fired him 18 days after learning of his misrepresentations. Speculation has swirled for weeks about when or if Mueller would move to charge Flynn, who was seen almost universally as legally vulnerable by a myriad of reasons beyond the Kislyak calls. So why was Flynn vulnerable to the investigations of Robert Mueller? Why was he the odd man out? Why was he singled out? Well, it turns out there's some complications because Flynn was working for Turkey. He was lobbying for Turkey and needed to register and make that public knowledge, register with the government as an agent, a foreign agent, working for a foreign country. According to multiple reports, outlets, Flynn is also under investigation for an alleged quid pro quo with the Turkish government, in which Flynn would have been paid millions of dollars in exchange for his extradition of a Muslim cleric living in the U.S. Federal records show that Flynn did not register the $530,000 he was paid during the 2016 campaign for work he did that the Justice Department said principally benefited Turkey, a potential violation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which is what I said earlier, but without details. And this heightened the personal drama. Flynn's son is also thought to be a focus of the Mueller probe, giving the special counsel another way to put pressure on Flynn. They take the arm, they put the arm behind you, and they push down. That's what they do. The Kislyak calls, meanwhile, appear to be a potential violation of the Logan Act, an obscure and likely unenforceable 1799 law prohibiting private citizens from engaging in foreign policy. No one has ever been successfully prosecuted under the law. Given the breadth of the potential charges Flynn could face, at least if the reporting is accurate, the single count of lying to investigators is incredibly light. It carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. Ooh. So can we have a conversation about that? Michael Flynn. Okay, so he did plead guilty. If he pled guilty to a lesser charge, we know how this works, don't we? Okay, let me not pretend that everyone out there knows about how they how they prosecute people in the United States. Typically, when they get you to plead guilty to a charge like this, it's just a light charge. They have something more heavy over your head. That's how they muscle you to plead guilty to begin with. The fact that Manafort did not plead guilty signals to me that they really have nothing on Manafort. He was just something, we're going to throw something against the wall to show that we're making progress on these investigations, that millions, and I do mean millions of dollars have been spent during these investigations, which have yielded nada. Nada. So, Michael Flynn may be the only chance they have at bringing down Donald Trump. And if that's the case, if I was Michael Flynn, I'd be very careful. If I was Michael Flynn, I might want to be in protected custody or something. Like, accidents do happen, and I know it sounds bad. Look, man, I know it sounds bad, but all I'm saying is that if you're the only chance they have of impeaching a president, and we know how America gets down. Like, come on, come on. It's a very scary situation. I don't know what Mueller has on Flynn, but it must be something. And he didn't plead guilty for no reason. He pled guilty for a reason. So you put those things together. I will follow up on this, and we will continue to cover it. But based on what I've been reading and following this case, following the investigations from a vantage point of just trying to be open-minded, I would encourage all to be open-minded. Look, if anyone broke the law, they should pay for that. Period. That's how it should be. No one should have their mind totally made up on these investigations. We should see what they bring up, what they bring forward, what the evidence is, and then we'll make up our minds. Because we're not here to protect anyone, and frankly, it's out of our control. But as far as commentating, talking about it, coverage, I think we should just keep an open mind. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But believe this, I believe on the record, I believe they have something pretty heavy on Flynn. And he's willing to give Mueller something to get that plea deal. All right. All right. Here we go. It's Friday, y'all. It's Friday. You know, on Fridays, we got Freedom Friday, right? But that's where you get to call into the show. You get the phone for 5 minutes, and you get to express yourself on a range of topics, whatever the topic is, whatever bit of news you think needs to be spread, or if you have a comment about what's been going on in this country over the last week. That's what Freedom Friday is about. Freedom Friday streams live on this platform that you're watching this on right now, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Phone numbers will be posted. It's always the same phone number unless they change it on me. They've only done that once in the last 3-4 years that I've been doing this show. So, yeah, be there. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, Freedom Friday. Join us.
Let me just say I'm reserving judgment until all the facts come out.
NFL players are at odds at the dismissal of Colin Kaepernick from the Players Coalition by another player. Two prominent names, Michael Thomas and Eric Reed, have left the NFL Players Coalition. They called or cited a number of reasons for their departure, including the exclusion of Colin Kaepernick and problems with leadership and communication within the group. The NFL recently proposed a $89 million commitment to social justice causes, drawing a mixed reaction from the coalition. Weeks after a group of NFL players first met with league officials and owners to discuss activism and social justice, the Players Coalition has been fractured by a number of significant disagreements. The coalition was founded in September by Philadelphia Eagles safety Malcolm Jenkins and retired wide receiver Anquan Boldin. Boldin was a bad brother, but it now appears that at least two of the players took issue with their leadership style. On Wednesday, the Miami Dolphins safety Michael Thomas and the San Francisco 49ers Eric Reed tweeted identical statements announcing their plans to leave the coalition. The Players Coalition was supposed to be formed as a group that represents NFL athletes who have been silently protesting social justice and racism. They wrote, however, Malcolm and Anquan can no longer speak on our behalf as we don't believe the coalition's beliefs are in our best interest as a whole. We will continue to have dialogue with the league to find equitable solutions, but without Malcolm and Anquan as our representatives. The players disregard on a number of issues, or disagreed on a number of issues, including the inclusion of Colin Kaepernick in the coalition. Reed said that Jenkins essentially removed the free agent quarterbacks without consulting other members. All right, so for those people who do not like or respect or appreciate Colin Kaepernick, you're not in this conversation because you are predisposed to not liking Colin Kaepernick and what he stood for and what he stands for. But for those people in this coalition and for the general public, the people that support Colin Kaepernick, which I am one of those people, you can understand why the NFL, there'll be players or people associated with this coalition that's supposed to fight for the players, will be pissed off if you removed one of the central figures in the entire protest-driven NFL thing. Like, he's the man who sort of attracted all of these eyes and ears to these issues, and it's sort of galvanized. He was used as a mechanism to galvanize people to care about social justice and to make this conversation bubble to the top of all this other crap that's going on in our country on a daily basis. That is what Colin Kaepernick did. So whether you agree with him or not, you still got to know, like, that's the guy you think of when you think about the NFL protests, when you think about the players' issues with the NFL and the whole anthem thing. So that, to ignore that and then not include him in this coalition or in this discussion is, to me, a travesty. I don't know what you think. I think it's a travesty. And if you aren't going to include him, you at least got to put it up for a vote. You at least got to say, hey, guys, what we going to do? All right? Okay. Malcolm kicked Colin out of the coalition following the meeting in New York. At the beginning of the season, he told the Associated Press, there's a group message. Jenkins is the administrator, and he took Colin out. All right? So, there's been a lot of talk about this offer that the NFL owners have made. They're going to give money to social justice causes. I think it's $100 million over 7 years or 8 years or something like that. And a lot of people are very, excited about it. Some people are excited. Some people are shaking their heads at it, pointing their fingers at it. And I agree, okay? $100 million is a lot of money. But there are 32 teams in the NFL, and all NFL owners are billionaires. So that's one. So it's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money at all. Not if you're protesting social injustice, right? And you're protesting how can we deal with that, and let's do something to mitigate it, to stop it, to put an end to it, because we care about our communities that we come from. We still have families that live in these communities. Not every NFL player who makes these big salaries that everybody loves to talk about, they're making so much money, not everybody can move every single person they've ever known out of those neighborhoods. So they have a vested interest, even if you don't believe they do, they do. And $100 million is not a lot of money to put into this effort. Right? And if they're willing to give you $100 million, they're willing to give you, $500 million. Or they're willing to give you $1 billion if they're willing to give you $100 million. That's what I would think. But is it really about money? I don't know. Is it about money? 7 years, over 7 years? Here's the other thing. Now, this is also important. I think everybody should know this, and I think we all would agree. One of the ways that the NFL, I think it's Goodell, right? Roger Goodell, one of the reasons they were able to get the owners to tentatively submit this $100 million proposal is that it's not new money. It's not a new $100 million. It's the money that they're already allocating to other causes, such as the armed forces. So they're going to take money that they're already going to donate, that's already earmarked to other causes such as breast cancer and the armed services, and move that money over to social justice initiatives. Now, peep game here. Peep this out. A lot of the players caught flack because they said that the players were not respecting the flag, i.e. our military and our veterans, right? But the owners are very fine to say, okay, instead of giving to the military, we're going to give to you. You don't see the hypocrisy in that? Do you see the hypocrisy? So there are players who are like, ho, 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 ho. No, don't take the money from the veterans and give to us. Don't take the money from breast cancer that you care so much about. Do you realize like 90% of the money that they make off breast cancer goes in their pocket, not to breast cancer? Do you realize that? Come on. Do you realize that? Okay. Point is this. It's not new money. They're taking money from charities that they already, to charity and to the armed services that they already allocated, and they're just sliding that money over. No, I think that the NFL owners, if they really want to make a gesture, keep the money on the armed services, keep the money for breast cancer, because we know they're not making a whole lot of money when you sell them damn wristbands, and move that and give new money. Go over here, this pocket, and put some money over here for social justice reform. That's what I think they should do. Or you could do nothing and we could keep on protesting. What the hell? All right. Let's talk about Obama. Obama, he hasn't been very vocal about Donald Trump, and that's because Obama has something, regardless of what you think about Obama, he has class. He's a statesman, right? Come on, it's evident. He's well spoken. Even bigoted people will say he's a good talker. That Obama's a good talker. Well, yeah, he is a good talker, and he's very well spoken. And he's also been very careful with his words. This is as close as Obama has gotten to really coming over the top rope and laying a smackdown on Donald Trump for all the stuff that he does publicly in statements. Former President Barack Obama says, think before you tweet. That's right. You got to think before you tweet. When former President Barack Obama spoke to a leadership forum in India's capital on Friday, he never once used the words Donald Trump. He was careful to avoid any direct reference to his successor in the White House. Yet Obama made plenty of veiled references from climate change to the perils of using Twitter. The responses often drew laughter from the audience at the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit, which was part of a 3-country tour Obama's undertaking and one of the first global outings as a private citizen after leaving office. Here's what Obama had to say. Is this right? This right? Yeah, I guess this is right. This looks weird. This is right. All right. Obama said he uses spell check and punctuation. That's a good one. Which my daughters think is odd. They were explaining to us how if you put a period at the end of a sentence, it sounds harsh. I said, no, that's English. That's how you know the thought's finished. He said he sees people getting in trouble for their tweets and says they should follow the old advice of thinking before you speak. Think before you tweet. Obama said, same principle. He said using social media is a powerful tool for both good and bad. And look, I've got 100 million Twitter followers. I actually have more than other people who use it more often. For the record, Obama has 97 million Twitter followers. Trump has 44 million. Okay. That's what you would call a Twitter measuring contest. Like, you know what I'm saying? All right. I thought he was going to give him something good. Okay. Obama said he could have had a debate about climate change with people who said fossil fuels were necessary for growth in poor nations like India, or people who said humans should adapt. But he said he couldn't debate with people who claimed it wasn't real. Yeah, there are some people who don't believe that climate change is a real thing. Those people don't like science. If you're saying it's a hoax, then there's no way for us to bridge our differences in a constructive way. Trump has previously called climate change a hoax. It's an agreement, even though there's a little bit of pause in American leadership, that is giving our children a fighting chance. Yeah. Anyway, Obama made some comments. They were they were good jabs at Donald Trump. I did watch. Look, you got to watch. I'm not doing it justice. You got to watch some of the comments the video of Obama talking at this symposium, and you'll see what I saw. At least I think you will. Like I felt. I'm just going to tell you what I felt. I felt after watching Obama. I felt, what's the word for it? You know, melancholy. Right? Is that the word for it? Where you look at something, you go, oh, I remember the good old days. Makes me long for the good old days. You know, the good old days weren't that good, and they weren't that long ago. But there's a certain amount of, yeah, I know you're full of. Come on, I know you're playing the game. You know, you're like, I know you're playing the game, Obama. But damn it, I appreciate you trying to play the game. You know, I appreciate you not saying like crazy, just Pocahontas, you know, or Sons of Bees. You know, I appreciate that we had, you know, that he was articulate and he, you know, okay. You know, I appreciated that. This Trump stuff, it makes us look bad on the national stage, and it also makes people very nervous because they don't know what Trump's going to say. People, I was on a show and I got invited to a show with Jesse Lee Peterson. If you don't know Jesse Lee Peterson, he's an extraordinary coon. And I hate to say it that way because I don't like using that word, but he's the most, he doesn't like himself. He just really does not like, he's a black guy who really doesn't like black people at all. Like every question was about black people, negative. And my point of this is that, I don't know, I tried to explain to Jesse Lee Peterson that, yes, we know Obama had a lot of faults, a lot of problems. So does Donald Trump. And I noticed that you guys don't like talking about that. And that's, it is what it is. And I'm just going to say, I'm just going to go into the next story. I'm just going to say this. Look, I don't like lies, no matter what package it's put in. But the power that Donald Trump has, the way he wields that power it's not good. And the way other countries look at what we do, and we lead the world in a lot of different ways. And we have somebody at the controls, someone who's directing policy, at least out of his mouth, and who says anything, anytime, with no consulting with anyone who obviously doesn't know politics, obviously doesn't know national affairs, obviously doesn't know these things. I know we didn't elect him. I didn't elect him, but the country did not elect him because he knew foreign policy. But he talks about it, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. So whatever you do, I don't know, say you're a computer guy, all right? Say you're, I don't know, maybe you work with kids in youth programs. I don't know. What if there was somebody talking about youth programs or talking about computers who everyone had to listen to, whose voice was much louder than yours, and didn't know what the hell they were talking about? And what if there were other people who were looking at that, who needed to hear something because they need to know how to fix their computers in other countries or their programs with children? And you got this guy who doesn't know anything about any of it, just talking and making dumb comments. And what I'm really, that's an analogy for what's going on, but it's way worse what he does. Way worse. So, it is what it is. This show is brought to you by TimBlackTV.com. It's not brought to you by RT. It ain't brought to you by the GOP. It's not brought by the DNC. It's not brought by TYT. Just you. So if you like this show, if you value this show, if you find it, you know, hey, I like Tim Black. I like what he's doing, you know. Let me let the brother keep doing and let me help out. Well, go to TimBlackTV.com. You'll find a link to take you to Patreon. Become a Patreon member, and let's keep hope alive. All right. Donald Trump says weak on crime Democrats will pay after serial border crosser acquitted of murder. All right. Donald Trump lashed out after a Mexican man who illegally entered the U.S. was acquitted of murder in the death of a woman in San Francisco. Trump called the case a complete travesty of justice and said Democrats would pay a big price at the ballot box for being weak on crime. Okay. San Francisco is a sanctuary city where local law enforcement limits cooperation with federal immigration authorities, and the killer had illegally entered the U.S. 6 times. President Trump lashed out at Democrats on Twitter on Friday, the morning after a Mexican man illegally entered the U.S. 6 times, was acquitted of murder in the death of a young woman walking on a San Francisco pier with her father. Horrible story. The Kate Steno killer came back over the weakly protected Obama border. God. Always committing crimes and being violent, and yet this info was not used in court. That's a Trump tweet. That's a Trump tweet right there. Okay. A jury cleared Jose Inez Garcia Zarate, 45, of murder and manslaughter charges on Thursday in connection to the fatal shooting of Catherine Steno, with his defense having argued that the shooting was a ricochet and an accident. He was convicted of possessing a firearm as a felon, however, which means the jury did have some knowledge of his criminal history. In Trump's tweets on Friday morning, he referred to Zarate's exoneration as a complete travesty of justice, though acquittal and exoneration have different legal definitions. Trump seized on Zarate's case early, as the killing took place in 2015 around the time Trump began campaigning for president on the platform of building a wall using the U.S. southern border with Mexico. So, excuse me, guys. Trump has been talking about this incident ever since 2015 when he was running for office. And this is one of the cornerstones for which his wall idea has been built. Okay, so he's using that this guy, Zarate, who came over the border several times illegally, then shot a woman, whether intentionally or not, killing her, as part of why we need to build up a wall. Okay. Trump placed the blame with Democrats who oppose Trump's immigration policies and support sanctuary cities where local law enforcement limits cooperation with federal authorities. If federal immigration law had been implemented, Zarate would have been detained longer after his 7 past felony arrests. Trump has threatened to cut sanctuary cities' federal funding. And Trump tweeted this. Now, get ready. Trump tweeted this. The Schumer-Pelosi Democrats are so weak on crime that they will pay a big price in the 2018-2020 elections. Okay. You know, look, listen. There's a couple things about this I'd like to say. One is that it's a horrible, horrible story. And my condolences to the families, to the Steno family, who lost their daughter. It's horrific. Losing a child in such a senseless way, it's got to be devastating to the family. It's got to be frightening for the community as well, and friends, everyone. Okay, so that's the first thing we should say, because we're human beings and we care about one another. We put ourselves in the shoes of the parents. But inside of that, even within that comment, what I do not like about it is the politicizing of the death of this young woman. That is all that Trump has done. Using, yes, I agree. We need border security. I agree. We can't just, I don't believe totally in this globalization thing, but open borders like Clinton. Open borders, open world, everybody comes goes as they want. They just do whichever one you want to do. Like, no, I leave my doors locked for a reason. I know you leave your doors locked for a reason. I get that part. I'm with you on that part. What I'm not with you on is that you make this issue like it's the biggest issue in the world. Like I think Trump taps into, no, I don't think he does. He does. He's tapping into fear and bigotry at the same time, which is a great mixed drink. It's a great mixed drink if you want to get people drunk off of anger and get them to vote for you or support you. But the reality is, this is not a pervasive, this is not an issue that's running rampant all about the country. It's just not, and it's not, this thing that you need to, that you need to bully, that you need to pump up, pump it up, pump it up, pump it up, and make everyone say, oh my God, we're being overrun. Immigration is down, both legal and illegal. Crime is down, both legal, or all crime is illegal, right? All crime is down. But if you listen to guys like Donald Trump and Giuliani's and all these people who are so law and order, Jeff Sessions, you would think that we're going to hell in a handbasket. That's not the case. And I don't like the politicization, like I said, the politicizing of grief, of death, okay? Yeah, sanctuary cities, if you want to change those laws in those states, go do it. Now, you said states, they love using states' rights, saying states' rights, when it's for something they want. It's like, not legalizing weed, for instance. They, let's keep the federal, the state, whatever, but when it's something like sanctuary cities, now you want to throw out the states' rights. And you can't do that. You just can't do it. You don't get to change the laws in states because you don't like the laws. Anyway, that's not how it works. That's what I think. All right. So I had to sit through people talking about John McCain as if John McCain was the perfect politician. Oh, John McCain. Oh, Johnny. Everyone was loving Johnny. Oh, Johnny. I thought Johnny Carson had been recalibrated, rejuvenated, regenerated. That's it. Regenerated. It came back. The way they were talking about John McCain. Well, John McCain ain't Johnny Carson. He never was. He's a warmongering, everything is war with John McCain. It's always been. And on policy, in my opinion, John McCain has never been someone a beacon of light. Okay? And I don't know why these Democrats thought he was. But I guess it was just because of that health care vote. That one time, John McCain said, well, I'm not going to, he just got diagnosed with cancer. And he's like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to be, I'm not going to kill other people who can't afford health coverage because this bill is not good enough. So, and I'm glad he did not vote yes on that horrible health care bill. Right? Okay, so I don't like Obamacare as much as a lot of people. I don't like it, but it's better than what we had before, and you can't replace it with something worse. I can't stand with that. But here's the thing. That, to me, does not exonerate John McCain of all the other bad calls he's made. But no one wanted to listen to it because everyone was so busy clapping till their hands hurt about how great John McCain was. Well, John McCain has gone back to his form, back to his usual self. Maybe he's feeling better these days. John McCain announced his support for the far from perfect tax reform bill. Yeah, the tax bill. He's backing it. And with John McCain's help, it will probably, or it has a lot more chance of passing because of John McCain. Senator John McCain said Thursday that he will support the Senate tax reform bill. After careful thought and consideration, I've decided to support the Senate tax reform bill. I believe this legislation, though far from perfect, oh, it ain't perfect, would enhance American competitiveness, boost the economy, and provide long overdue tax relief for middle-class families. That's what he said. The controversial bill will mostly cut taxes for corporations and wealthy Americans. A vote on its final passage could happen as early as yesterday. It's Thursday. Okay. Coming up Thursday. I'm on point. This article was just done today. So, McCain is one of the last GOP senators to comment or to commit to supporting the proposal at this stage. The tax plan would pass under special budget rules of Republicans lost 2 votes. 2 votes. Even if all the Democrats and independents were to oppose it. So they could pass this bill, which is the problem with the Democrats losing all the time. So they keep losing seats, meaning Republicans don't need to work with Democrats to pass anything. We got to get Republicans to defect to in order to stop any legislation. That's why it's hard to say, okay, you got to criticize Democrats because Democrats got to become better because they are opposition to bad Republican ideas. And I'm not saying the Democrats don't have a lot of bad ideas too. I take each issue by itself and look at it and then make a judgment. All right? You know, McCain, he voted against tax cuts before. He voted against them. He voted against tax cuts for the rich back when Bush was president. So let's not act like he can't do it. He's done it before. But why now is he agreeing to these tax cuts? And I'm not saying, guys, I'm not saying some middle-class people wouldn't benefit slightly from this tax plan. They would. But the benefit difference is astronomical. Like, okay, you're going to save $100 this year as opposed to last year. But the rich are going to make 50 grand or 100 grand. Corporations are going to make 200 grand or whatever. Like, if the inequity of the benefit is devastatingly, like, huge. And that's the part that no one's talking about. So when they say, oh, it's going to help the middle class, yeah, but it mostly helps the wealthy and the corporations. And that doesn't even include small businesses. Small businesses don't get helped using this plan. Okay. So if they repeal the mandate or the Obamacare, then 13 million, it's a crazy million number of people will lose their health care. Because as young, healthy people leave because they don't have to, take the mandate, they don't need insurance. They say, hey, I'm good, I'm 25, I'm good, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling alive, I ain't got to worry about nothing. Well, then that means everyone else's premiums go up. So, anyway. Oh, God. McCain's statement about tax bill ends with his acknowledging of the concerns some of the Senate colleagues have raised about the impact of this bill on the deficit. He says this, and we'll just close with McCain on this. He says, it's clear that the bill's net effect on our economy would be positive. They believe in this trickle-down economics. They believe if you give rich people breaks, if you give corporations breaks, they pass those breaks down to poor people, middle class, and create more jobs. It doesn't work like that to a large extent. It does not. When rich people get money, they do what? They invest that money in corporations, other businesses. They put it in Wall Street. They go play Wall Street. This is what they do. When working people save money, they go, I don't know, they buy a new car, they send a kid to college, they put in a new deck, or they I don't know, they get the car fixed. They do things with the money. Like, don't we all know this is what happens? In this real life is, people who have money don't spend it. That's why they have money. They don't have to spend their money. I've never understood people who thought that we're just going to give Bill Gates more money. Bill Gates ain't going to spend his money, man. You see what he wears? Do you see what he wears? He doesn't. I'm not talking about rappers. I'm talking about. All right. So John McCain is back to being the real John McCain. And now, what? You still want to kiss his butt? You still want to erect a statue to John McCain? What was it? Keith Olbermann? Keith Olbermann. Oh, praise John McCain. He's my favorite. Okay, Keith, you got out of politics just in time, Keith Olbermann. Because now your buddy John McCain is throwing us all under the bus with this horrible tax bill. It's almost as horrible as the health care bill they tried to pass. There you go. Give it up for that. I tell you. So anyway, Facebook, Periscope, YouTube. Let me do a couple shout-outs. We got time. What the hell? Who's in the house? James Burchett, Kathleen Brazil Barron in the house. Daniel Berksteiner, Mary Nagel Klein in the house. Yeah, I just don't look, guys. Look, somebody help me understand why we can't have a tax plan that focuses, not like, why do we have to be an afterthought? Why do working people, why do us working stiffs, why do us teachers, coaches, little league coaches, crossing guards, Walmart worker, fast food worker, small business owner, office administrator, construction workers, plumbers. Why do the regular working people, working folks, right? Why can't the tax breaks be focused on you? Why come they can't be focused on you? Why not? Why not? Why does it have to be why are we an afterthought in the pyramid of who gets the most breaks in taxes if we're really trying to grow the economy? You give working people a break. They keep money. Most of them will improve their lives because they have things that they need to improve upon. They go out and buy that new pair of glasses they couldn't afford. They get the braces done they couldn't get done, right? They'll buy a new carpet. I don't know. They buy a new TV, the one that they went out 6 months ago that they just couldn't afford to do something with. They take that vacation that they haven't taken in 7 years, or maybe that they've never taken. They take their kids to Disney World. This is what working class, middle class, poor people, and all others do. This is not what rich people do. This is not what the wealthy does. Why come I can't hear a politician, other than like Bernie Sanders, say something like that? Just simple and plain, guys. And look, I'm right here with you. Why do we keep buying into the notion that we are children and the parents need to get the money, meaning the rich, and we need to just be like, okay, cool. What is this? I'm a grown-ass man. I don't know about you. I don't need you to get the cuts, and then you're going to know what's better to do. I think it's all a game to them. And they're playing with you know what they're doing?
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotion.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing, yo. That's what they're doing. So look, guys, if you got today was a little bit better because, well, it was easier for me to put together the show, even though, we're still working out the timing. I did a podcast yesterday with Michael Figueredo, that you might know. Mike, give it up for Mike Figueredo, Ron Placone, in his house. It was the exiled. Look. Anyway, I'm gonna tweet out the podcast. Well, you know what? Here we go. Maybe I can find it here. Here we go. I did a podcast last night, guys, that I think you will be interested in. Let me see if I can find a tweet. Here we go. The Establishment Exiles. That's it. Establishment Exiles. So I did a podcast, and so check this out. Last night, so I did this show, the Coffee with Tim Black show. I did that show during the day. Then last night I did my show, which is Tim Black at Night show. And then after that, I did another show, the Establishment Exiles podcast, for another hour or two. I don't even know how long it was. And then we get right back up and we do this show. Right? So, and then tonight we got Freedom Friday. And I got a lot of videos coming out. So working class people grind. It's what we do. We grind it out. We work, and we work. We work hard, and we don't get much for it, but we keep working because we have a goal in mind, and we have to, because we have to survive, right? That's all of us. So we don't need anyone else to patronize us with BS about they got this. They got this. They don't have this. They haven't had this. All this time, they haven't had this. All right? So why the hell should we believe all of a sudden the elites are going to be like, we got this? It's sort of like my same complaint about all this sexual allegation stuff. Working class people have been known for years that you can get fired if you work at a company. I don't mean a little small, like you run your own little thing and it's just three employees and you own it. You might not get fired. But if you work at like if you work at a small business or business of any size, I should say, where you are, sexually harassing people, you'll be out of there so quick, you won't even get a chance to pack your desk. You are gone, brother. I'm trying to tell you. So these idea that we need to be all alerted because now a couple rich people have been finding out that they're getting treated like regular people now. Oh, my God, it's a culture shock for them. Look at the tax thing the same way. We've been getting screwed by these tax plans. We've been screwed by Obama bailing out Wall Street, not Main Street. Definitely not Black Street. So, hey, don't expect me to go easy on them. All right, guys, go to TimBlackTV.com. Follow me as Real Tim Black on Facebook and Twitter. I won't keep you any longer. I can keep talking, but, you get the point. And, email me at tim@timblacktv.com. Thank you so much for people who sent stories in. You guys are amazing. I appreciate y'all. That's what's up. And you make this easier in order to find stories that you think are important to you. That helps me produce better content. So I appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Tonight, don't forget, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also don't forget, if you're in the Richmond area, come see me, Lee Camp, Chris Mohan at Ponies and Pints, live stand-up comedy. I'm going to be there doing it, killing it. You be there too. And then after the show, let's take some selfies, let's have a beer or something, and let's talk in person and hang out. All right? All right. I'll see you tonight.
Coffee with Tim Black. Yes, I am coffee with Tim Black.
Welcome to Establishment Exiles. This is the 4th episode of the podcast. My name is Mike Figueredo, and today on the show we have Elise. Welcome back, Elise.
Thank you for having me.